Welcome everyone, I'm Vi. I'm e-commerce marketing expert at Omnisend. And today we're going to be talking about all things testing. And I'm sure that you've been in that scenario, and this is safe space to admit it. I'll be the first one when maybe you launched a campaign and then it finished and you kind of went, okay, well, we got some money in, that's good. And you did not do any postmortem. You didn't even compare it to your previous campaigns. It definitely happened to me. And maybe you've been in a scenario where you set up an automation and then just kind of set it and forget it kind of scenario. Then at some point, you see, oh, sales are dropping. I wonder why. And I think when it comes to these issues and planning things, we only tend to react to whatever numbers we're seeing, and we're not planning ahead. So that's where testing is so important. Even if you're seeing that things are performing, well, how sure are you that this is the best performance you can have? So today, I'm very excited for everyone to meet Matthias, who's going to be talking about testing. And the plan is so practical that I encourage you after this webinar, look at your Q3 planning schedule and schedule in maybe at least 30 minutes to plan your email marketing A/B testing. Because you'll see when you plan, you'll tend to get better results. And you'll be surprised by what you find out about your customers, about the tendencies, and different assumptions that you might have about your email marketing. So, Matthias, would you like to say hello?
Hello, everybody. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Anything good for you? But yes, thank you for the introduction, Bai. And as I think she already painted quite a clear picture of what we're going to be discussing today. But who am I? Yes, I'm a customer success manager here in Omnisend. I'm working with a lot of brands. I'm working with different kind of products being sold all around the world too, like everywhere. So I think I'm gonna bring a lot of insights and try to resonate in your head, repeating a lot of things a lot of times. And I hope by the end of this webinar, you'll have something to remember and hopefully to apply already.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll have at least one idea for A/B testing. So before we begin, this session is being recorded and you will receive the recording in a couple of days. So pay attention to your inbox. And also, if at any point you have any questions, at the bottom of your screen, there's a Q&A tab. So drop your questions in there and then we'll be able to see them and we will answer them at the end of the session. So Matthias, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Bai. And let's get started with this then. For today, we're gonna be covering first of all, as you might have noticed by the title of the webinar itself. Yes, we're focusing a lot of the season two. We want to start testing now. We are gonna explain why now is the best time to be testing. I'm also gonna try to expand on what we actually think about A/B testing. What are our misconceptions out of what else are we missing from A/B testing that is not so frequently spoken about? And probably doesn't cross your mind very often either, yes? Then I'm gonna also try to, with every single topic and item, bring out to your attention how are you gonna A/B test it within Omnisend, what are the tools that we have for you to A/B test, and try to show you some examples already of people that have been A/B testing with us, some brands that have had success with it, or in general, just great examples from big brands worldwide that are doing things well and could inspire you. I think one thing to focus on this during this webinar is that is about inspiration, is about giving you ideas, about bringing something to your head, something you may have not thought about before. So just keep that in mind. And that's why I'm going to be repeating probably more than once, probably more than twice, 12 test ideas that we're going to start testing hopefully today, if not today, tomorrow. But definitely within this month, I would recommend, yes? So as Bai said already, please drop as many questions, commentaries. Maybe, you're unhappy with what I said. Just also drop it down in the comments. And And hopefully we can manage to have a conversation with you at the end of this presentation. Yes. So let's move on. And yes, so let's start here. What will you learn? How to design a test? Yes, I think this, take it more as when you're going to receive the presentation and the webinar recording after this. I think is very, very important to you for you to take a look at what this slide said, because it's written in a quite a short way for you to remember exactly what you need to do. Yes. Then what to focus, what to ignore. I'm pretty much going to spend more time talking about what to focus on than what to ignore. But there are still some things that we may just stop doing since we're probably only focusing on that part of our A/B testing, and there's many other things that we are not doing yet. Yes. And how to use this low season. Why now? And repeating again, the main reason and the results that we want to obtain from this, and we're going to apply them a little bit later. Yes. Let's start with that then. Why are we talking about this now, and why we make a big emphasis on this season? The summer is coming, yes. Days are getting brighter. The sun is shining finally here in Lithuania. There's no longer need for me to take vitamin D. But in general, we're trying to, go inside the summer, and for you as well as your customers, yes, it's probably going to be a lower season, slower times. You're going to be able to focus on your family, on your holiday plans. But it doesn't mean that we cannot still use our marketing to get better data, to get better insights. Yes. So as I said before, it's gonna be slower season for your business itself. We're gonna also prepare ourselves as much as possible within our companies, I believe, for the high season. Both you as us will have to prepare, because for you is a big sales season. For us, a lot of things are happening. We also have to be right ahead and prepared, yes. And again, data. Data is what we're focusing to obtain in A/B testing, and data is what you're gonna hear all the way through this presentation. Yes. Let's move on. And again, I put here a little picture so you can envision also in a timeline how things are gonna go and how they're gonna look from now on. Right now is just the middle of May, just exactly the middle of May, yes. So we still have some time to start applying that testing right now. We'll have June, we'll have July, August, we're going to start stressing a bit and start processing that data. September, we're going to stress even more, and that data is finally going to hit our books and make some sense for us to prepare something. And then, October, November, and December, we're going to make the best use that we can from this data to make the most revenue as possible, yes. Now, let's jump into what A/B testing really is. Yes, I'm not gonna go expansively because it's pretty clear. I'm pretty sure everybody knows A/B testing just by the name of it, but just to put a little bit more context in it is controlled curiosity. Yes, it means how much are you engaging with your customers, how well are you taking a hold of them, is also, as you see here, not just about subject lines, which I think is the major misconception. It's not only there, there's so many other things we can A/B test, and it's about strategy. As Baiba said at the beginning, is about stop reacting and start acting ahead of the problem, yes? Compare two variants, something that I think you'll have to keep into consideration all along through this presentation, and also when you're practicing to not to try to test more than two things. You want to have clear results, you want to have clear data. So one thing in one thing in the B version, and that's all you need to know, because then you can start testing again and again and again. Do it repeated times, but don't test more than one thing so you have a clear idea of what's changing your results. And this is also important. You may have friction within your workplace. You may have friction with other colleagues that they are saying, no, this is not the way to go. This is not working. I like it better this way. So, you'll never know until you test it. It will help you solve problems, just finish those discussions and help you tell those colleagues of yours once and for all, I told you, yes. So let's also focus on this, and let's jump to the next part of our presentation, and we start talking about ideas. I divided it into three sections. We're going to speak about campaigns, about workflows, and about forms. Yes, we can also A/B test forms. Keep that in mind. It's a big, big place to A/B test too. Within campaigns and automations, we're going to repeat a couple things, so I'm going to be briefer there, but yes, keep in mind that I'm planning to inspire you here, yes? Inside campaigns, we're going to use subject lines and content. This is the most typical one. What are we usually changing when we react? Uh, Maybe we have emojis versus plain text. Maybe we're going to have short and mysterious. Maybe we're going to have a very detailed subject line. We're going to tell them exactly what we're selling. Maybe we have personalization. Maybe we're not using it and we are considering to use it, or maybe we are considering to gather that data because we don't have it. We have free header variations. We have discount versus free shipping, and this goes as big as your imagination can go. But I'm just gonna try to give you a little of ideas so that you can still remember them and try to apply them tomorrow or today. A pro tip here: this is the main part of your campaigns in the end. Yes, this drives the campaign. This determines if your campaign is going to be open. This determines the interest of your customers. So yes, big importance of this, but not only focus on this. Yes. Layout and structure, another section of our campaigns. We can try to be product heavy. We can keep it lifestyle. We can keep it brand related. We can be plain text, or we can have a lot of pictures, a lot of images. You're gonna see examples of this, so don't worry if I'm going a little bit quick over it because we're gonna cover them later. We can play with the call to action button. We can play with the wording. We can also play with the arrangement of things within our emails. And also we can have some more complicated things that is not going to be applicable for every user, and it's not a thing that, is going to probably resonate with everybody. But we're also going to take a little bit of a look around that because we have the tools within Omnisend to apply it. And also we're going to check timing. Morning versus evening, weekend versus week day, resend to non-openers, use some boosters, don't use them, and also how frequent should we send? These are the biggest questions that we may have when it comes to sending our campaigns too. And now let's go into details and see some examples, which is probably what's going to bring the most value for you. This is simple. Yes, we're not going to be so complicated here and try to confuse you with more, but it's as simple as this. We either include the emoji or we don't. How do we know if it works? How do we know it doesn't? We A/B test it. That's it. It's just for to bring that back to your head that if you're ever having a doubt, don't go and ask around. A/B test it. Your audience are the best people to tell you what they are interested to see. What are they going to react to? Yes. So just test it out there. Short and mysterious versus detailed and benefit driven. This one I think is a little bit more relevant because and more interesting because you can either just be short and mysterious. This will be very related to the language that your brand tries to communicate to. It has to be consistent to your language, to the lingo that you're using, the audience that you want to communicate with. And you will want to have this kind of communication with the customer. Either you're gonna prompt them to trigger them to open your email, or you're gonna tell them exactly what they are gonna see in it, and then expect if they're gonna open. It works differently. Different audiences want to see different things. Different times of the different promotions, different campaigns will need a kind of a different header too. If you want to be clear about some promotion that is going to end tomorrow, you're not going to be mysterious about it. You're going to be clear, yes? So just keep in mind the seasonality of this, the campaign that you're using in it, and also the language that you want to keep having with your audience. Consistency is also key here. You're building a brand, you're building a language, and you want your audience to relate to it. Personalization versus none. This one, of course, everybody will want to be using personalization. I mean, it's not that we're suggesting you not to use it. Yes, the more personal you are with your customers, the better. But again, there's audiences and there's audiences. So we A/B test, we verify what's working, and if in case we're saying, oh no, personalization is not working for us, or we don't have the data, we don't get all the names, we want to have it for all of our audience, then you're gonna solve it with this. For the 20 contacts in your list that have the name, you're gonna send them with the name and see if that brings better results, see if that brings more opens, more clicks, more revenue. So then maybe it's worth to also ask in your forms or wherever you're gathering information for the name, for the surname, for anything else that you can be using in personalization, because the options in Omnisend are gonna be very, very extensive. Yes. Then we're gonna go with pre-header variations. This one is more for your creativity. Yes, this one runs being the subject line exactly the same, but you are boosting it with something different. So you can apply the same ideas that we saw in the previous slides, but in the pre-header. Yes, just this is just a reminder that the pre-header also matters. It's not going to be a different thing here. Then discount versus free shipping, also something that you can start applying. This one is just to see what resonates better with your audience. Maybe you're selling locally, maybe you're not selling internationally, and the discount maybe it's less for them than free shipping would be. Yes, so you have to consider this. You have to see your audience. You have to see what they react better to. Also, again, seasonality and campaign, the importance of this. But just know that you always will have two things to compare. Now, just a little note on what you can use within Omnisend to help you. We have implemented, and we're working hard to improve this even more and take it even further, implementing AI into our platform and to our app. Yes. So now you have the subject line AI generation. You're able to see what probably you had an idea in your mind, but maybe you can ask AI for better options. You can ask AI to improve it, to give you something else, to help you think outside of the box, because maybe you are already sending too many campaigns and you don't know what else to name them. Yes. So again, is as me here is with you to inspire you. Yes. So make sure you use it. Make sure if it's there, why not just click on it and see if there's something else. If there's not, then you remain with what you want, what you like, what you thought about. That's also A/B testing. Then the subject line tester. This one is a tool that we have outside of the app itself, and I would recommend you're gonna receive the link, I think, right now in the chat, or if not, you can just find it also online. And I really suggest you to try it, because it's not only gonna tell you what are the alternatives or what's wrong with your. It's gonna give you a full in-depth analysis of your subject line, why it may not work, or why a better subject line probably will improve your sales, or boost your open and click rates. It's gonna give you the data on it. Yes, it's not just a simple answer. There's a breakdown on why your subject line could be better, or why it is perfect already. You could have been done already a great job. So just I encourage you to test it. I encourage you to play with it, and just to make use of these as many other AI tools to try to make your life easier. Then let's go with some more visual now. Finally, you get to see some pictures in case you were bored of listening to me just and seeing some text. But here we start seeing some more graphical representation of what you can A/B test. You can use product heavy versus lifestyle content, yes. So this would also depend on what stage are you with a different segment, with a different part of your audience, or what's your brand, history. How strong is your brand communication among not only email marketing, but in general, in any social media, online, your website, how strong it is, and how consistent you want to be with it inside of your email marketing too. So you can either just be sending products that are dropping, or just trying to promote more products, and just you have a big amount of collections, and there's a lot of products that you want to suggest. So yes, you can be heavy on that. You can be suggesting as much as you want, and as long as you use the right segmentation, it can bring good results. Yes. But you can also start building a brand, a loyalty, a consistency, and tell them, show that message in every single campaign you send. It's not gonna, it's not gonna be diverse. In many cases, it's gonna kind of build up. It's gonna be sequential. It's gonna go throughout the year with your customer, and try to keep a consistency so that they also open it as you would open a newspaper, as you would open your social media posts. So it's no longer just the product that they are looking for, but they are also looking for your brand. They are looking for your information. Maybe you have some extra value you can provide. Yes, there's a lot of things that are related to your brand that are outside of your product. They have to do with you in many cases. Maybe you're the founder. Maybe you want to tell a story. So there's these two things that you can think of. Yes, maybe as you build your brand, you're gonna A/B test and send it to a smaller portion of your audience, one of the versions, and to a bigger portion of your audience, the other one. It doesn't matter. It's about segmenting well and knowing what your audience may want to receive. Now, also plain text versus visually rich. Here you may ask me, why would I want to send a plain text? Is in many cases a question. But I have huge brands with amazing return on investment that are only sending plain text. Yes. So again, each audience will react differently to things. Yes, maybe you can give it a try every once in a while, see if a plain text thing campaign works better for you. Why? Because it's probably prompting more curiosity. You're not showing, you're not giving up, you're not giving away any information. You're not giving away the product. You're not giving away your brand. You're telling them, hey, something happened, and you can see it here. Yes, so this will probably improve your click rates when your product and your brand is good, when your open rates are good, and still have that mystery if whatever you have to show behind those links is going to be of value. Yes. And then I don't have to speak so much about the visually rich. It's a campaign that is visually rich. Yeah, it will have a lot of things. It will have a lot of blocks, either with pictures, either with buttons, either with a lot of text, different hyperlinks here and there. And this one is trying to be a little bit more aggressive, and it works in many cases too, and it works for many brands too. So this is just two approaches that you can take towards the same audience, just to see what resonates better with your contacts. Yes, so it will change from brand to brand, from season to season again, but just make sure that you can consider also this as an option. Then the call to action button, you may not notice so much difference at first sight from these two pictures. Yes, if you just look at them, you're like, okay, they look pretty much the same. But if you zoom in and you really, really look into it, yes, you will notice that there is a difference in the phrasing that you have within the call to action button. Yes, one is going to be shop now, as in I'm selling you something and I want you to buy it right now. And that's what I'm trying to communicate through that button. But the other one is still a little bit more uh, like less product related. It's more about your brand also. Yes, and it's also more about the customer himself or herself or themselves. Yeah, so it's pretty much related to what your product value is. So you're no longer gonna say shop now. You're gonna say, you know, take a look at your just improve your your marketing essentials with this, or just improve your portfolio with this, or take your look a step further with this, and then you're no longer just prompting them to buy, but you're actually selling the value of the product itself in the same button that they're using to purchase. So just keep this in mind too, because the more you personalize and make your buttons and your whole content more unique, the more your audience is going to differentiate you from the others. Yes. Layout and structure. Here is just a matter of moving things around. Your campaigns don't need to look always the same. Maybe sometimes you'll need to put a product on top and make it a heavy element. That is the first thing that everybody needs to see when they open their emails. Consider the user. Consider the user. Go at your inbox, send the test email. What's the first thing you see? Are you going to scroll down? Maybe I'm not going to scroll down. Maybe that first thing was all I needed to see. But maybe I need to scroll down. So, you have to think about the placement of things. Maybe you can send one version with something on top, the other one with the same thing, but a little bit lower under the text, under the value, and just see what is the way that your customers want to receive things. Then also viewing browser, this one is the one that I told you is probably not going to be applicable for everybody. It's not that every brand is going to use it, but just to know that you have the option also within Omnisend. I think you're also going to receive a link on how to do this, but it's many cases just for you to have a consistent look of your email in case you know that it looks different in some places. So just give the customer the option to see it in the browser. I don't believe many customers are going to see it there, but just know that you have the option. And if it really brings some value to you, there is always the way to test it within Omnisend too. Now let's move to timing. This one, I'm going to tell you just a short story about a customer that sent me this same screenshot, yes. And he told me, hey, Matthias, I sent the campaign at 1 p.m. And I noticed after reviewing it yesterday that I had another peak at 11 p.m. Yes. So this is already kind of a post A/B testing processing. Yes, you have data and you're trying to make conclusions out of it. So again, you have your data here. You have things that are telling you, maybe I should try something different. That's the perfect moment to start A/B testing. So You're gonna take a fraction of your segment and send it at the same time as you used to send it, and maybe a little fraction of your audience is you're gonna send it at the time that you saw it peaking once again. So maybe you're gonna see now from now on I'm gonna send my emails at 11 p.m. I'm gonna schedule them for that time because more people are opening, more people are buying, and more people are clicking in them. So make sure to analyze your metrics. That's key in A/B testing. That's key in general for everything now in this world. So make sure that you're keeping an eye on them all the time, and that you can make decisions based on it. The same with weekdays versus weekend. And when it comes to uh, resent to, well, this one is not really so much of a A/B testing itself when you're doing a booster versus a no booster, but this is a long-term data gathering of what works for you. Maybe I'm used to send very good campaigns with very good metrics. All of my campaigns are having a 50% open rate, and I'm having a 5% click rate in every single campaign, and all of them generate revenue. So maybe you see one that already generated a lot of revenue and you're thinking maybe there's that other 50% that didn't purchase. So, just make sure that you can use that booster too. You can do it either before the campaign is sent, or you can do it after the campaign has sent, that you can see the results and boost it again. Yeah. So make sure that you also A/B test this in the long term. See if your boosters actually brought you more revenue during that month, and you can continue using them consistently. Yes. Of course, don't abuse it. Be cautious. Be mindful. But it's a tool that you have there, and why not use it when it can bring you better results? Now, 1 week versus 2 week, even more long term, yes, because this could be 1 month versus 2 months. And in automations, we're going to talk even about longer periods, but this is more about segmentation, yes. So maybe there's a segment that really is opening and clicking your emails and is really engaged with you and really wants to hear from you. So maybe to them, I'm going to be sending 1, 2, 3 times a week. But another segment that is not really engaging, is not that interested in my emails, but still purchases, I'm gonna send them maybe once every 2 weeks. So this A/B testing is not really gonna be an A/B testing of a single email itself, but it's gonna be an A/B testing of your segments. You're gonna be treating each segment different. You're gonna be being more mindful about your sending. You're not gonna send to everybody the same because those kind of practices are not gonna give you data that you can work on later. Yeah. So this is more about thinking long term, as by said at the beginning, not to react, but to always be working with an intention, to always be working with a plan for the future. Yes. Well, let's move now into automations. I hope I didn't take too long, but just keep in mind that all of the things that we learned from campaigns are also going to be used in automations. Yes, they don't stay there. Automations also have emails, so all of the things that we learn right now are going to be also implemented here. But Omnisend gives you more options towards A/B testing inside the automation itself. And here's where it gets more interesting, more complex, and I hope you learn something new from this. We can play with the workflow structure. How will this look? We can use one-off email versus multi-step. We can test different channels. We can use conditional splits. I'm going to show you some examples so you can get inspired. We can also change delays. It's the same as we did with the campaigns, but now it's going to have a completely visual, workflow in front of you that you're going to see how everything is working live. Yes. And a pro tip here, just try always to be using A/B test whenever you set up a new automation. Yes, don't try to stay always with whatever comes by default in the template or with whatever was your first idea. Think I'm gonna try this or that, and then I'm gonna run with A or B version. Yes, don't always start any automation just with a single option. Yes, messaging. We're gonna talk about discount versus brand stories, similar to what we said in campaigns, product image versus urgency, discount versus emotional appeal. And is also take a look at this, is going to be different for each workflow. Yes, all of them are not going to be applicable for all workflows. It has to be, again, mindful of what is the stage of the customer at the moment. Are they actually in the abandoned cart stage, or are they just browsing around my website? Content and tone, similar to campaigns once again. We're going to be playful versus professional, short copy versus storytelling, call to action button at the top or at the bottom. let's start then. So with the workflow structure, I hope you're able to, I'm gonna stay in this slide maybe for some seconds more so you can catch up with the GIF because it's a little bit faster, but in general, here you can see just an implementation of how it will look. Yes, I can either think, for my welcome flow, I only want to send one email with a discount and that's it. I don't really want to annoy my customer after that, and I want to leave it there. But in many cases, and it happens very often, the customer may not even open that email. They may not even convert from that discount. They may be missing out on that discount later on. So because discounts expire, as well, except you can be very generous and make them never expire, but in general, if they have an expiration date, you don't want them to just receive it once and forget about it. So I would really recommend if you're having doubts about having more emails, not only in the welcome flow, but it could also be in a product abandonment, cart abandonment, checkout abandonment, to set reminders, yes, to have an extra step to test if it works. I'm gonna tell you later about the splits and conditionals so that you don't send it to everybody, but just to the most important audience and the people that didn't click based on their actions, yes? And then we're gonna also test channels. I don't think this needs a lot of explanation, but don't forget that Omnisend gives you a lot of channels too. You only have email, you have SMS, and it can help you boost your sales. It can help you reach those customers that don't open emails. Same with push notifications. It's another channel that it's a little bit foreign to what the workflow actually is, but still, it's another completely valid and great tool to boost your emails and SMS. Then we're gonna talk about these conditional splits. I won't go over all of them, but just to show you this screenshot, maybe you can get an idea of what it means. Yes, you can either play it with the trigger filters. It means if my cart total is over 100, I'm probably gonna give them a higher discount than if it is under 10 euros. Yes. So just we're gonna A/B test this. We're gonna try to split things and try to keep our customers in a good path. We're not gonna give the same to everybody. And you have a lot of options within Omnisend. I really encourage you to go and check it out. Same with contact properties. We're gonna A/B test. Maybe we want to split. It could be with anything. You can create a segment about it. Maybe we want to split them by country. Maybe we want to split them by gender. Maybe we want to just A/B test what's working better. What kind of communication am I going to use with each kind of person? And this option is pretty easy to implement within automations. So also go ahead and check it out. And then this one that is, I think, more relevant for automations is the message engagement. So if you, as I said before, you don't want to annoy your customers by sending them 2, 3, 4 emails, then okay, we're gonna skip them and we're gonna like exit them from the automation if they have engaged already with our message. So if they engaged, clicked, or opened our message, we exit them. We don't care anymore if they purchase or not. We don't want to annoy them. But for those who didn't, we're gonna send them a second, a third, a fourth, a fifth, or how many you think is relevant to be sending. Yes. So just keep in mind that these options are working in Omnis and have been for a long time. And please come and test them and try to make your workflows a little bit more complex, more interesting. Then, yes, here's a little bit of an example of it, just how it will look on the whole workflow view. Yes, so you can see to the right side the split settings, how you set it up, and how it looks in the left. Yes, so either the user, had that action, like took the action. Did they open? Did they not? Am I gonna send them an SMS? Only if they didn't open my email. I'm not gonna waste my credits. Yes, so it's also to be mindful, to be a little bit conservative of maybe you don't want to spend so many SMS in the end, but just keep in mind that this is also helping you control this. Then delays, same as in campaigns, we're gonna see what works better. We're gonna see in case for upsell, cross-sell automations for, when we know when our customer is gonna probably purchase again, we're gonna try to target them then. We're not gonna be rushing them and targeting them 3, 4 weeks earlier, or maybe we're gonna miss on the opportunity and target them a couple of weeks later, yes? So we have already data on the repurchase time of a customer or in the potential repurchase time of a new contact. We're gonna use these delays to play with it. So maybe I'm gonna target them either 1 week before I know they will run out of my product, or I'm gonna try to send them exactly the week that I know they will run out of my product. Yes. So this will bring you a little bit more elaborate data about how your customers are behaving outside email marketing itself. What are their needs? How they will react to your emails? When is appropriate to be approaching them? And again, a tool within Omnisend, very easy to set up. So come ahead and check it out. And now we're going towards the end of the presentation itself. We're going to talk about forms and pop-ups, and I think it's also some place where a lot of people are missing on the opportunity because we have the tools and a lot of tools actually, and a lot of ideas too. So I hope I might inspire a couple of you to start testing AV testing forms too. We can try here content and tone. Yes, exit intent versus time on site. You have a lot of display options as you see here. It could be how many pages my customer visited, how many time did he spend on my site, how much he scrolled. We can A/B test and allow our form to appear after certain action in one and in the other a different one and see what works better. Then we leave it like that. Again, a little story here, and I don't know if I'll tell you in this or in the next slide. I'll probably split it in both. But just as I told you before, a customer had a problem that management didn't like the pop-up form, didn't like the spin the wheel form. They said it doesn't look nice, it's not resonating with the way our site looks. We adjusted the design as much as possible because also remember that the Wheel of Fortune is very customizable now. But in general, she had this problem because she was the one in the position to implement these things, to see the results, to analyze and to report. And she really thought this one was working so much better than any other form they had before. So I told her, okay, let's do this. Let's A/B test. We A/B tested for a month. We showed the results. The Wheel of Fortune was so much higher than the other forms that they set up, and in the end, they agreed. They say, let's leave it. You know, just segment us out from it. I told her, and you can also do that. You can exclude some people from seeing it. So you know they are segmented out. They won't see that form anymore, and but they know that their customers are happy seeing it and interacting with it. So this is also a way to you know settle those disputes, like try to convince somebody that is not really believing on something and show them data, which is in the end what decisions are made on. Yes. Just don't forget also we have different types of forms when it comes to pop-ups. We can have a pop-up or a flyout, yes, different kind of presentations, how it looks. So keep in mind that there's so many tools within the forms themselves that you can be using. And let's go to the next one. You can use discount versus freebie. You can use enter to win, sorry, versus save now. Yes, so very different kind of phrasing too, as you would in automation or as in a campaign itself, as you see in this example. Yes, one is offering you just that normal and most common 10% on your first order to convince you to purchase. But the other brand is actually offering you a free fighter jet with your first order. So, you know, it really depends on your interest and your storage capacities too. But in the end, it's really about what do you think resonates better with your audience, as it does with every single thing else that we just talked during this whole presentation. Yes, everything will have to do with the audience that each brand has. It's not going to be generic for everybody. Yes. Content and tone. So we can either keep it simple, like you saw before, tell them what's coming, tell them that the 10% discount is for their first order, and that's it. Or we can try to be a little bit more creative. We can, you know, let the customer, like this brand did, allow them to understand that they are going to receive a lot of annoying emails from us probably, but we're going to try to respect their borders too, and we're going to allow them to select their preferences. That you know, like you can already start selling your brand language, your brand communications from here because this is the place where you gather those contacts. So this is the place where you set the tone. After this, they will receive the campaign, so you have to make sure that that campaign matches the tone and that the automation matches the tone of the campaign. And you know, in general, have a very unified tone within all of your communications. Yes, not spread it too much. Be unique and be consistent. Then here you also have multi-step versus single field, a big debate within the people that want to implement forms. Yes, we have made updates to make it even better. So now you know multi-step can be skipped in one step. It's good. But this is also something that we're always talking and discussing with a lot of clients. I don't want to have a multi-step. I think it's gonna hurt my submissions. Okay, A/B tested because you're also missing on data. Maybe you also wanted to have that phone number. Maybe you also wanted to include that name, that surname. Maybe you are not gonna get that information later on. So A/B tested before you really disable it. Yes, before you change it. This is where you actually don't just make a decision and let it be. You first get some data, analyze it, and see if it actually makes sense to change the way you're doing things. Or maybe it's just a different approach that you have to take. Maybe all you needed to do was changing the picture inside the form. Maybe the phrasing was wrong. Maybe it wasn't because there was more than one step. Yes. So consider that this is not always black and white. Yes. Then finally, we're going through segmentation and smarter tests. I think this is just to a little bit summarize everything else, because for everything I would recommend to use segmentation. I think segmentation is up there in the top 3 best practices. Yes, so I would go with segmentation. Always make sure that, as it says here, who you test on is as important of what you test. So you're not gonna get good results. You're gonna get workable insights if you're testing on the wrong audience. Yes, just keep that in mind all the time. And here we have, for instance, just some examples, some ideas. As always, and in all this presentation, I'm trying to flood you with ideas here so that you can remember at least a couple of them and implement them. We can try engaged, the people that are, and this one is basics, I think, of email marketing. Try engaged versus cold. You're gonna then make a very quick conclusion that you shouldn't send to cold. But if you're having the doubt, go ahead and try it. We have VIP buyers versus first-time customers. This is a very good one because VIP buyers is the people that are most engaged with you, the people that purchase the most with you, and first-time customers are those fresh contacts that are probably keen to purchase a first time from you. So you're gonna see what works better for each audience, for your loyalists, and for your freshest contacts. Do they need a different kind of treatment, different kind of communication? And maybe some of them are already used to how you talk to them, how you reach out to them. Maybe the other ones need a little bit introduction of the brand, as I told you before, from the form to the automation, to the campaign. There has to be sort of a story, an escalation, and consistency. Geography, you can try, if you want to be, more of a data analyst here, you can try region A versus region B, and then come with conclusions to somebody else and report it. We're doing well here, but we're not doing so well there. And well, maybe not you, but somebody else will have to take action on that. Yeah. So we're helping other departments too to make other decisions based on the data that we gather from e-marketing too. Language-based variants. This one, I think it's not only A/B testing, but another good practice. Yes, always make sure that your customers receive the information in a language that is familiar to them. This will obviously drive better performance of your emails, automations, forms, everything else. Yes. Gender or preference-based product groups. So just to synthesize even more, yes, just try to keep as many and as specific segments as you can, because there's gonna come a day when you're gonna need that segment. Yes, and maybe that day, because you never know what's happening, what product comes, maybe that day you're not gonna have time to really gather everything and to figure out how it works. So always to have this prepared and to work with this segment-based mentality is gonna help you avoid problems in the future. And a pro tip here, the smaller the segment is, you know, the best you're gonna get the first data, the initial data. So then you can start scaling it little by little, so that you can start working on, previous insights and scale the insights to the next, and scale and scale and scale until you send to the full list and you have the best solution already. The best version is the one that you're gonna use now. Yes. Now, to finalize, some advanced A/B testing experiments, yes, just to see what else you can do. You can try to, as I said before, use the view in browser link versus not using it. This is completely up to the customer if they want to see or not see, like in the browser, or just keep seeing it as they see it on the email. You can try a quiet hour delivery. You can be very, very specific about the time that you send. You want to be very, also conscious about the time that your customer will receive it, and segmentation will help you with this too. Frequency caps, one message a day versus no cap. Yes, so maybe I want to try and send a couple messages like in a consecutive days, or maybe I want to remain very, very conservative and send them at least in 1 day in between. And yes, don't be afraid here to micro level. Yes, the smallest insights could really help you moving forward in this slow season. So just if you have a little doubt, as small as it is, still test it. Is not gonna hurt you. It's gonna bring you better data. And again, coming back to the beginning of the presentation, now is the best time to do it. It's gonna hurt you the least in case you think it's going to hurt you, but I think it's going to be, more, it's going to do better in the long term that you think is going to do worse in the short one. Yeah. So think this way instead. Tools and features. Just remember that you have a trigger preview flow. Here you can see in the preview button in every single one of your workflows who is going inside of an automation too. This will help you understand also what else can I change within the automation and in general everything within it. Something else, yes. So more options here. Dynamic content by card, value, or tag. What we discussed during automations. You are going to analyze how much a person is spending in you, and based on that, you're going to make a decision. The language-based content, blogs, emails versus SMS, and etc. Yeah. So this is just to recap on everything we have already spoken about, and just to come again and bring those ideas to your head so you don't forget them. And speaking of those ideas, once again, here they go for the last time before I let you ask around. I would recommend you to, you're going to receive the recording and the presentation in the end, yes, but if you just want to be that, quick person, the quick bee that there's always working, you can take a screenshot of it and just, start working as soon as we finish, so we don't have any time to send you the presentation at all. But very quick, subject line, emoji versus none, pre-header versus no pre-header, CTA button wording, the send time, AM versus PM, or anything that you think is good related to your metrics and your analysis. Founder story intro, customer intro, like this is just user-generated content. So either it can be your founder, you are a founder, you want to keep your brand around you because it's important that the people relate to that, or it can be based on what people is, either commenting on your brand or what they purchase from you. You can also maybe test those two things. It's going to be personal to you, or your brand is already away from you. It belongs to everybody. Surprise use case intro, a relatable struggle intro. Same again, you can be very relatable. You can try to be one of those purchasers too, or you can just try to be the seller and try to, say that, be that you're the person that brings that value and use that tone inside of your emails. Forms and pop-ups, teaser, don't forget about the teaser. I keep repeating this to all my customers. Please use the teaser, experiment with it. Story versus promo, discount versus freebie, always important too. Yes, you can in cases when things are not working very well with the discount, engage with your customers, make them participate for something, make them sign up for a ruse. Maybe more people will react to this. Pop-up versus flyout. There's more versions than just the pop-up. Don't forget about it. Look at all the other options that you have, not only within the configuration itself, but where is it going to appear, from the corner, from the top corner, left, side, right, when does it appear? So many things within the forms that you can do, and many times we don't even look at them. So please take a look at it. Funny tone versus serious tone. How is your brand going to be from now on? Maybe you're going to change from tomorrow and you're going to decide to be funny or serious, however you were before. And emotional versus discount teaser, founder mini story teaser. You can bring even your founder story to the form itself. It doesn't need to be exclusive to your campaigns and automations. Customer testimonial pop-up. You can bring also your customer generated content here. You can see what people are saying about you. Bring your some review, some screenshot of a review, put it in your form, and try to also bring more comfort from the people that is and more reliability from people that wants to register for the first time. Gamified hook with a surprise. Use the Wheel of Fortune. Try to gamify your submissions. Try to make it as interesting as possible. Automations to close this, the welcome flow again, discount versus brand story, abandoned cart. We're going to use either an image, like trying to just show our product and just, remind them of what they're losing, or we're going to be urgent about it. Tomorrow everybody's going to purchase that item and there's not going to be any more of it. Yeah. So just remember that you're selling. So be creative with it. Post-purchase flow, upsell versus loyalty. Winback flow, discount versus emotional. Maybe you are just discounting, or you're just trying to again, put there that your brand is there, that new things are coming, that they should stay consistent with your brand. That you don't want to, FOMO is a big factor in the case of many brands. So just use it to your advantage, and try to resonate with your audience when this could happen. Welcome flow, founder versus surprise. Uh, again, the user-generated content versus the struggle. Post-purchase flow, thanks versus a surprise. You can many times just tell them, thank you for subscribing, or thank you for purchasing from us, thank you, and that's all they receive. Probably they will be a little disappointed by that, but many times you can bring a surprise from there. Yes, maybe, hey, thank you for purchasing from us. Participate on this Wheel of Fortune and get 10% discount on your next one. Yes, so you can create a landing page. You can be creative with it. Many things that you can do to engage with customers once they have already done what you wanted them to do, that is purchase from you. Win back flow, struggle story versus reminder. And in segmentation here, engaged versus unengaged. Again, just one thing that is done for you to prove that it doesn't work to send to unengaged people, not a recommendation. Location, US versus UK. For instance, here, we're gonna just try to. I believe all of us, a lot of you are doing it. But if you are not segmenting, try to do it, because many cases it's gonna help you determine better sending times. It's gonna help you determine content lingo. There's cultural difference everywhere, even within a same country. So segmentation is gonna help you. New versus returning, gender-based test once again. And yes, here is the checklist. What are you gonna do starting today or tomorrow? Choose one area. Don't try to flood yourself and change everything from tomorrow on. Just pick one thing. Pick a clear variable. As I said at the beginning, I didn't repeat it often enough, but I'm gonna say it one more time. Just try to pick one single variable. Don't confuse yourself. Pick one item that you're changing within the A and the B version, so that the results actually make sense for you. Define your audience segment. Again, who you send to matters as much as what you send. And let the test run long enough. This one will vary from channel to channel, from automation to form to workflow. But just when you're already sure that the data that you have received from it is good enough to make a decision, only then let it go. Just don't rush. Don't try to think like, okay, I left it one day, that's it. I don't need anything else. Yes, times change. You need times to process. Maybe within an A/B test that you send, even inside one single campaign, things can change. So be mindful of that. Measure and analyze your data all the time. This is basic. And that's it. I hope I was able to bring some value to you. And now we open the Q&A session in case there is any other questions. Here
Thank
we
you
are.
so much, Matthias. That was so well structured. Like I wish I had this when I started working in e-commerce, because when you have like clearly laid out steps, it's so much easier. Just to plan ahead. And as I said, what I would really recommend for everyone, just after this webinar, schedule some time for Q3 planning and decide what is the most important thing for you to test. Because something that like kept coming back to me as you were talking, Matthias, it was about knowing your customer and how the information that you're gathering with your email marketing is actually helping other departments as well. And especially when you have those engaged customers, because you have proof they bought from us. So they're definitely our audience, and how they behave, then you can pass on that information to marketing department, for social media department, even those who are managing your website. Like you immediately can give them actual data and be like, hey, these are the people we're talking to, you know?
And we do it even here in Omnisend. So I mean, it's the way it's supposed to be done. And I think the more we share within departments, the more we share our data, the best our results are going to be. Especially if our customers are in the middle of it. Yes, I think that's always going to be an important thing here.
Yeah, absolutely. And something that also, as you were talking about all the different testing things, I was like, we can come into our business and have so many assumptions on who are we selling to, or more like who do we want to sell to. Something that kept happening to me when I was in consulting side of e-commerce. I was talking to business founders and even marketing directors who had this assumption who they wanted to sell to. They had this idea, but then we were looking at their data and we were like, well, people are buying from you and these are your customers. So you should love them and appreciate them. But then they have that kind of, and it's very human. You have that pushback. They're like, but I really want these people to buy from me, which is fine. You might find a way to sell to them. But when the data is clearly pointing to, this is your customer, I think that is also very important for us as marketers, just to kind of eat some humble pie and just lean into the data that we can see. So like
Yeah.
definitely like when you were talking about it, I was like, yes, this is another reminder for us. And another thing that when you touched on segmentation, immediately, because I have very analytical and organized brain, I was like, okay, there are segments, and you can have those VP people, your champions who are buying from you, but they might really resonate with, let's say, emojis and fun and engaging tone. But you can also have your VIPs who are more about straight to the point. Just tell me what you're selling and I'll buy it. So having those, having the time, first of all, to get to know the segments is very important, but also just keeping track on who those subsegments are as well. So that's why we chose this specific time to talk about testing, because now you have whole summer, and as Matthias said, then our stress levels are going to start to increase as we are approaching Black Friday and holidays. So now is the time to really collect that data. And something that I wanted to ask you from like very practical point of view. So now I'm getting all the data, and so, but where do I put the results in, and how do I track what I find? So when it comes to Black Friday, I can actually be like, okay, no stress. I have it already. And then I can plan it into my campaigns. So how do we approach about tracking what works and what doesn't?
Well, it will depend very much on where you're looking within Omnisend, but we have provided all the tools there. We have the reporting, and it's now comprehending even up to the forms performance. So this is also data that you can even export. If you don't like the way you see it within Omnisend, if you probably feel more comfortable seeing an old school data sheet, a CSV file or an Excel, dashboard, it's gonna be also available for you to export. Yes, so it really also comes to creativity because now AI is also in our world. I know that we can use Gemini, we can use ChatGPT to just analyze what's on our screen. So why don't we use that to measure the data too, to see what's working better, to see what I already have the results. I go inside my automation, I see that AV version is clearly better the B version than the A version. I have the button there to just disable A version to pick the winner, and also it can be automated within Omnisend. So the tools are there, and it's going to be quite intuitive for you to find all the reporting and, in general, all the information and all the data that you need to work with inside of Omnisend, export it, analyze it elsewhere, and just share it with anybody else who needs to see it. So everything is inside the tool itself, and I think you don't need to go to to a lot of different places to find it. There it is. That's all you need.
Absolutely. And if you ever get lost where to find your data, you can just contact our support team and we'll be there to help you find it as well. So as long as you're running your tests and you're gathering that data, it's going to live within Omnisend. So don't worry if you get lost at any point. It happens to the best of us. But we have a support team that can help you out with that. And when it comes to data, and like we have so many ideas now to test, what metrics should we track and pay attention to? And I'm looking at it from a couple of perspectives. First of all, I just started a test, and I don't know, a day two have passed. What should I keep an eye on? Because he said, there might be some downsides when you're running a test, and we might need to stop the test. So would I approach this so I get enough indications that, okay, I really need to pause this, or enough indications that, okay, I could keep this running for a few more days, a week, whatever you recommend?
I think this would depend on the case and also how much you plan ahead. Yes, if you're just A/B testing as you are, let's say, vibe coding too, if you're vibe testing, then it might be the chance and it might be the opportunity for you to just stop testing when you see something doesn't work. Yes, if you just said like, oh, it came to my mind right now, I should test this, and you just tested it that same second, and after one day you say like, oh no, I messed up. Yeah, like you can just stop it there. It's not a problem. But if you have a plan behind it, which I think is what we're trying to at least prompt customers to start doing and all the merchants to start doing, is just to have a plan behind it. I want to improve click rates. Yes, so maybe I won't see that happening in a day. In 1 or 2 days. Maybe I need to set a time frame within. I want to gather this data. It's going to be 2 weeks, and I'm going to respect those 2 weeks. Only if I see that something is going, clearly like wrong, or just there's the data is already telling me that I shouldn't do it, then I stop it, of course. But if you see that is still there, fighting between the AV and the V, maybe A is winning on one day, B is winning on the other day. It's like stocks, you don't know when you're gonna take out your money from there, but in general, you try to be very, very cautious about it and plan ahead. I think that's the main tip I can give here. You set up an objective, you set up a KPI. This quarter, I want to improve my click rate, or maybe right now it's not so important to get my click rate up. I want to get my open rate up. So maybe I'm going to focus more on subject lines. I'm not going to focus so much on the content itself. Or in the end, we're not newsletters only. We also want to set a product. So what is generating more revenue? We don't know. Maybe the A version had a bunch of clicks, a bunch of opens, but DB version had a little bit less. Maybe the language was better communicated over there, and those little people that clicked on it are the ones that purchased. So you have to let it go for a while. You have to have an intention. Doing things with intentions are always going to be the best way to get workable data.
Absolutely. When you said about, the purchasing side of things, it reminded me, if you ever get lost with like email marketing, but you might understand ads better, this is the same principle. You put out an ad, what is your goal? And then some ads might have, better click-through rates, but not just very few sales. And some ads might show metrics that are lower in different points, but they're actually generating your sales. So it's like not jumping to conclusions too soon and not going into the vanity metrics as well when you have one goal of like selling the items. So I really like this point. And it actually pointed to something that we had in the Q&A as well. So the question was, if we want to increase click-through rates of our email campaigns, which element should we A/B test to discover this?
This, well, you have to go back, analyze your previous campaigns, first of all. That's the first thing I would do. Yes. I would see, and one thing I always recommend is one thing I didn't mention during the presentation, but is look at the click map of your campaigns. Yes, of your best performing campaigns, of your worst performing campaigns. Yes, and you are able to see where people are actually clicking, where people are actually, just trying to find the value. Maybe they are not really going to the button of purchase here, or maybe they are not going to the product that you're trying to promote. Maybe they're just going to the title of your brand. Maybe they're going to the header and they're just looking for other product around there. Maybe they just got reminded that they are also following you in email, and they received that reminder, they go through it and they purchase something completely not related. Yes. So I would suggest really much to analyze your data, yes, and to see what is the point of interest for every one of your customers. What are people clicking on your campaigns? Where is that button is placed, and maybe it's not the button that you expect to be clicked at the top of the campaign. Maybe it's the one at the bottom. So really take a deep look into the best performing campaigns, into the worst performing campaigns, and try to work from there. Yes, there is not a specific answer for this, but I would recommend you to really, really analyze this in this case is not really data that you get in numbers, but you get it both in a visual way. You get even colors there, and you really see your heat map there. And if you're a sports aficionado, if you are really looking into metrics all the time, it really kind of brings a better idea of how my message, how my email should be structured, where should I place things, what should I focus my efforts on, and what am I probably not doing right. Yes, so that's what I would recommend taking a look at. Yes, so that's my advice.
I really like the point where you pointed back to the past campaigns as well, because you probably are sitting on a lot of data that you haven't analyzed yet. So safe space, no shaming, what you can do next as the first thing before you even consider your A/B tests, just look at the data that you have already. And as Matthias said, look for things that are already working as well. And then you can double down on it and look for indications. As you said, like going through the click-through map. Something that came to my mind was I had this client and they had an issue with their emails, and we were going through the data, and we realized that there were like people clicking on something that looked like a banner, but it wasn't a banner and it wasn't clickable either. And we were like, hello, people intuitively go to these parts and they expected to go somewhere. So we made it clickable and instantly we had better results there. So again, taking our own assumptions, putting those aside and actually looking, what does our audience respond to? What works for them and how they behave? Because again, we might want to sell to certain type of people. We might have this vision or idea of our customers, but the reality in the data is showing different things. So I think, again, as you said, Mattia, going through that historical data as a starting point is probably your number one step. So just looking at the time now, and we don't have any more questions. So just to recap this, you will receive the recording and you will receive the slides. So you'll be able to go through them step by step and see what might be applicable to your campaigns, to your business. And, just take your time. And as Matthias said, just focus on a couple of things. You're testing one thing, don't get too scattered. And now you have that time frame over summer to really gather the data. Don't even stress about analyzing it too much. Just gather the data, and then closer to September or even before October, you can go into your reports, get the pool of data, and really look at it. So you can be very strategic of how to approach your Black Friday, your Christmas, and other campaigns. And also, a pro tip from me is you might want to double check if you have a customer success manager assigned to your account, because you'll get someone as cool as Matthias who's going to show up and be like, okay, guys, let's get to work. And they will guide you through everything that you might need. So just double check, you might be applicable for that. So Matthias, thank you so much. Again, that was so helpful, so structured. And I just loved all the information, how simple it was, how intuitive, and just very applicable, because I can see every step just bringing in very valuable insights that I could apply to my future email campaigns, but also my business overall. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Bai, and thank you everybody for your attention today. I see a lot of great comments too. So thank you everybody for attending, and I hope you really got some value from this. And just take those slides that contain like have all the ideas in them, that I have the ideas that we proposed, that I repeated several times, and repeat it to yourself again. Put them on your calendar, and just think of one of them every once in a while, but don't commit to them neither. Your creativity is there too, and you may have 100 more ideas that could be better than those. Yes, but as Bai said, pick one, start with it, see the results, and then we have 3 months to keep implementing one by one all of the others. Yes, so thank you everybody.
Absolutely. And maybe then we'll have Matthias back to help us to actually digest the data and then implement it into campaigns. So again, guys, thank you so much for being here. You will receive the recording and the slides shortly, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.